Who's getting married? Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurhavani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Paskatya Desitarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhangsa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shiman, His Divine Grace Shri Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Haribos, Slava Zavrani Bhaktam, Slava Shri Guru Shri Gurangi. Om Agyanatmanandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksuramilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udhavara Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Svitam Scha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishuvanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hri Priye Vanchakapa Dhruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patiranam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, text number 14. Anad bhavati bhutani parjanyat anasambhava jagnat bhavati parjanyo jagna karma samudbhavaha anad bhavati bhutani parjanyat anasambhava jagnat bhavati parjanyo Jagna karma samudbhavaha. Parjanyarana sambhava. Jagnat bhavati parjanyo. Jagna karma samudbhavaha. Anad bhavati bhutani. Parjanyarana sambhava. Jagnat bhavati parjanyo. Jagna karma samudbhavaha. Ladies. Anad bhavati bhutani. Parjanarana sambhava. Jagnat bhavati parjanyo. Jagna karma samudbhavaha. Anad bhavati bhutani. Jagnat bhavati sambhava. Bhavati parjanyo. Jagna karma samudbhavaha. Anat from grains. Bhavati bodies. Parjanyat from rains. Ana of food grains. Sambhava production. Jag from Parjanya rain. Yagya performance of yagya. Karma prescribed duties. Sambhava subsists on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by the performance of yagya, sacrifice, and yagya is born of prescribed duties. Purport. Srila Baladev, a great commentator on the Bhagavad Gita, writes as follows. You can read it yourself. And now he said something there. The Supreme Lord is known as Yagya Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifice. Demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are appointed officers who manage material affairs. And the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods, so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food. When Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods, who are different limbs of the Lord, are also automatically worshipped. There is no separate need to worship demigods. Process which nourishes the body spiritually. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material. When there is an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu and then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. In other words, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful actions, and this prepares the next body to resemble dogs, to suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. The world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord, food offered to Vishnu, is saved from the attack. Thereafter, one who not do so becomes affected to contaminate vegetables, fruits, etc. And the animals eat the refuge of the food grains and vegetables, grass, plants, etc. Human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and flesh must also depend on the production of vegetation in order to eat the animals. Ultimately, we have to depend on the production of the field, not on the protection of big production. And such reigns are controlled by demigods like Indra, sun, moon, etc. And they're all servants of the Lord. The Lord will be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. That is nature. Yaga, specifically the Sankirtan Yagya, prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from scarcity of food supply. Anad bhavati bhutani parjana anasambha parjanyo jagna karma samudbhava. All living beings subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yagya, sacrifice, and yagya is born to prescribed duties. Namo Vishnu Vraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Siddhartha. So according to Srila Prabhupada in this purport, if there's another pandemic, we can go around with a prasadam truck and immunize everyone by handing out prasadam. It'll be effective in being immunized. I don't know if the people in general or the powers that be will accept that food grains come from sacrifice. When people think of sacrifice, they think of throwing some poor victim into a fire. That's what they think of sacrifice is. They don't think that there's such a thing as chanting mantras will actually invoke the mercy of the demigods who will give us rain. They think that this is all superstition, which goes along with the general outlook they have about the Hare Krišna movement. Many people, nice but crazy, harmless, cult, but a nice cult. And as far as everything else goes, they have no idea. They believe everything came about by accident. So they don't really think they have to investigate very carefully any of the ideas that there's such a thing as demigods, for instance. Therefore, Prabhupada was very much against the idea that they went to the moon. And when they went to the moon, what they found there was just rocks. And they found dust. That's all it was. Dust and rocks. There was no moon god. There's no city. There's nothing. And when they went to Mars, one of the things they found on Mars was a Coca-Cola can, so that at least there was someone there who drank a Coca-Cola. So a little bit more normal situation in Mars. After all, Mars is supposed to be quite hot, so you need some Coca-Cola there once in a while. Probably the inhabitants there, one of the aliens came here, got some packs of Coca-Cola, and went back to Mars and distributed them during the summer there. And then after drinking the Coca-Cola, they all disappeared. Anyhow, they have their idea how everything came about. But the more logical explanation is that the universe is just like in our body. What they call chemistry. There's so many complicated activities going on in the body just chemically. The digestion of food, the assimilation of food, the curing of cuts, the healing of cuts, the immune system, just the fact that we can think of something and my hand moves. It's such an elaborate machine we're in that the so-called scientists cannot even begin to imagine how to duplicate. They may claim everything's by accident. It's a cause of evolution. So Prabhupada used to say, well, it's all just an accident. This body is just a machine. So why don't they find the missing part of the machine when you die, when you leave your body? Why don't they find the missing part and just put that part back in, and the body will be alive again? If it's just a machine, if any machine breaks down, they could probably repair it. So if this machine breaks down, why can't they repair it? Why is it, what is the part of the body that produces consciousness? So if they knew what that was, if they're actually sure that everything came about just by matter, why don't they find the part that makes consciousness? And when you die, when you leave your body, they just put that part back in and you're alive again. Of course, they claim that in the future they'll figure it out. And then they'll record you on a, hopefully it's a platinum disc. And you'll be in the computer and you'll live forever in a simulated world that they create for you. You can choose between Ljubljana or Maribor, where you want to live forever, which simulated world you want to live in. Of course, most of us will choose Ljubljana because the Panchatattva here. So this is their dream. They're going to program, everything is just an accident, and they're going to figure it all out, what the accident is eventually, and be able to duplicate whatever they want and put us anywhere they want, our consciousness, duplicate our consciousness. They have the idea that they can make many Sundar-Gopals. So you can be in class, you can be at home, you can be in Croatia on the seaside. Simultaneously, there'll be many, many Sundar-Gopals. And they'll all live forever and ever. So this is called just imagination. The very fact is, let them take some rain and produce grains from it. Let them take the grains and get the grains from where? Where do the grains come from? Where does the rain come from? Usually they can make too much rain or not enough rain. Either there's a drought, or when they try to cure the drought, they make a complete mess out of it and drown everyone in the rain. But where do the clouds come from? Have you ever seen a cloud machine that will produce rain? You have one in your backyard and you can make little clouds over your garden and they produce rain. Just little tiny clouds. And then you can make a little tiny sun. You know, when you get cold in your house, you just take out the sun out of the drawer and just hang it somewhere. Warm up the house. Save so much money on electricity and heating. After all, it's all an accident. So if it was all an accident, why don't they just produce another accident? But they can't do anything. All they can do is talk big, big words and try to figure out how to, more or less, as Krishna says later on, to make unbeneficial things which are meant to destroy the world. They're good at creating weapons, bioweapons or actually armaments, and destroying everything. But as far as creating things, actually create something, I mean, they try to do something, and they're somewhat successful, but the real problems of life they can't solve, because they don't even admit that these are the problems of life, namely old age, disease, and death, as the actual problems that we're facing. That they don't even talk about. I mean, there's some field of science called geriatrics where they try and prolong people's lives. But unless they learn how to elevate people's consciousness, even you live 100 years nowadays, if you're not elevated in consciousness, what are you going to do with your life? You're 100 years old and you're playing checkers the whole day. What is the value of your life? What have you actually accomplished? You're living in a body which is full of misery just so you can play checkers for the whole day. So nothing much is accomplished. They can't solve old age, disease, and death, although they talk about big, in the future we'll be able to do everything. Now we can't do anything. But in the future, we'll solve these problems. No big deal. But they can't even stop someone from growing old for one moment. Older. They can't change it, even one atom. And yet they think they're in control. But here it says that there are controllers of the universe. That's why the sun rises at a certain time. The sun sets at a certain time. Snowflakes fall, and no two snowflakes are identical. They're all in precise geometric patterns. So all these wonderful things going on, how could they not perceive that there must be some wonderful creator behind it? An artist may get some huge amount of money for painting a flower. Painting a flower vase with all beautiful flowers in it. But if you go and pick all these flowers and put them in a vase, they won't give you anything for it. They appreciate the artist who draws the flowers, but they don't appreciate the artist who actually made the flowers. So because of that lack of appreciation for the person who's actually behind everything, therefore they can't have appreciation, real appreciation for anything that he's created. Just like we've heard the name of Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci. So we appreciate them because of all their wonderful artistry that they've created. But when we see the greatest creator, all we can say is he doesn't exist. There is no great creator. There's only us and our little creations. And the big creations we see, even within our own existence, the wonderful things that we see going on, we just deny everything. And therefore, if someone says that the basic thing of life is food grains, people think that these people are simplistic. There's so many other important things. Did you ever go on the internet or on the radio or go to read a newspaper and they talk about food grains? Is there a website dedicated to food grains? Maybe. But they have iPhones and wars going on and everything. Everyone's concerned about these things, but about the food grains, people don't care about. They just take it for granted that tomorrow they'll be there, unless you live in Somalia or someplace like that. But even they don't know where the food grains are coming from. They don't know where the rain comes from. They think it's all by accident. And what to speak of sacrifice and prescribed duties, that's really far out. People have prescribed duties. You just do whatever you want, as long as you can make money. If you get social welfare, then you got everything. Then you don't have to work. And everything is just applied to you. Prabhupada used to give the example that in the communist, I guess it was communist China, the communists came and they wanted to convince the natives that actually they didn't need God. So I guess there were Christians in communist China at that time. So the communists came to the Christians and said, "My dear Christians, where do you get your food from?" And they said, "We get it from God." So they said, "Really?" So the communist said, "Well, go to your church and pray for bread." So all these simple people went to the church and prayed, "My dear Lord in heaven, please give me my daily bread." And then they came back and the communists said, "So did you get your bread?" And they said, "No, dear communist friends, we didn't get any bread. We prayed very hard, but God didn't give us any bread." So they said, "Well, pray to us and see what happens." So they folded their hands and said, "Dear communist friends, please give us your daily bread." And then the communists called for trucks of bread to come and hand it out to the people. And then they asked the people, "So who's better? Is your God better or we're better?" And they say, "Oh, my dear communist friends, you're better because you're actually giving us bread." Prabhupada said, if I was there, I would have asked them, "You rascals, where do you get the bread from?" So the point is that our whole philosophy is to convince people that there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead and that everything is dependent on Him. And He wants us to do certain things, and then we get in abundance whatever we need. And if we decide not to do any of those things, we just defy Him and claim He doesn't exist and spend all the time violating the laws of nature, then we can expect so many reactions. And therefore the conclusion is, for instance, now there's an election going on in America. Probably in other places of the world there's elections too. And people believing that if they choose the right person, everything will be all right. But, as it will explain later on in the next verses, that evam pravartitam chakram nanuvarti yatiya agayor indriyaramo mokam parthas jivati. Person who does not engage in the cycle of sacrifice, to follow in human life, the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly lives a life of sin, living only for the satisfaction of the senses. Such a person lives in vain. In other words, if we don't believe any of this, we don't follow any of us, not only we, but just people in general, the time will be there, not so far in the future, where there won't be any rain. As I mentioned, in a city of 7 million people, which was actually meant for 2 million, Lima, Peru, and at least since I've been visiting there, which is almost since 82, so that's 40 years, I've never seen one drop of rain. Only clouds, dark clouds cover the sky for 10 months of the year, and they don't even produce one drop of grain. So that's called impiety. And in other places, there is also a lack of rain. And in other places, in Dubai, there was no rain, so they seeded the clouds, and they got floods in the desert. Wiped away the cars and so many other things. So we may not accept what it says here in Bhagavad Gita, but then we have to we're helpless. We don't, and we go along doing what we're doing, thinking everything will be all right. I don't know what we're thinking, what people are thinking. I think most people are in anxiety. They don't know what's going on. But they're just thinking that if we elect the right person, then he's going to solve everything. Just like if you get the right GBC, then everyone will chant 16 offenseless rounds. And if we're not doing it, it's because we have the wrong GBC. So, if you watch the debates, which I didn't watch, but I just heard a little bit of it, but they just lie. They're just lying. We're going to solve your problems. They just say whatever the people want to hear. They say different things at different moments according to which part of the audience is paying attention. And whoever gets elected, it makes absolutely no difference. All they're doing is choosing who's going to pick your pocket. If you choose this candidate, he'll pick your left pocket. If you choose the other candidate, he'll pick your right pocket. But ultimately, they're just going to steal whatever they can from you. That's called democracy. You can elect who's going to steal from you, who's going to lie and cheat and cause problems, because they have no idea what the solution is. They say they believe in God. They know nothing about Him. They don't know what His laws are. They don't know what He wants us to do. And therefore you choose someone who is blind. Andaya tandera upigiyamanas te picha tantra urudami vara. They're blind, and those who are following them, they're also blind. And there's no progress. There's no real progress, even materially speaking. So the conclusion is that we should study these books, try to develop some faith that actually what Krishna says in these books is true. We don't have to blindly accept it, but we're chanting Hare Krishna. We're expecting, of course, to get love of God, but along with that, this world is also under God's control, if Krishna's control. If Krishna is God, He's controlling the world also. And if there's a lack of peace and tranquility, lack of resources, lack of proper air and water and fire and food and relationships, it's because we're doing something wrong. We're not in harmony with God's laws. So the experiment which we're conducting is that we try and be in harmony with Krishna's laws and see if it makes our life better. Otherwise, and I guess we'd have to conclude it does. Otherwise, why does everyone show up for prasadam on time? If prasadam wasn't real, why do people show up for it all the time? And Krishna is supplying us prasadam. I mean, we're offering some food, something to the altar. They think we're offering it to dolls or something. That we were younger and our mother didn't let us play with dolls, so we grew up and had a frustration. We're playing with dolls now. That's what people think. But we're actually offering them food, and we're getting back prasadam, which is not ordinary food. So how can they just be dolls? Did you ever have a doll and offer your food to the doll? And then you get back, wow, this is far out. The doll transformed the food. No, we have practical experience. Even when we don't chant our rounds so nicely, sometimes, still we can experience the mercy coming from the deities. And if we do chant our rounds nicely, we can definitely experience the mercy coming from the holy name. So how, if there's the holy name we have experience, there's prasadam, there's this philosophy, part of it which we may examine, makes perfect logical sense. So why should we not, at least on faith, believe, at least on faith, that living entities do live on food grains, and food grains obviously need rain. But why should we believe that rain comes from the performance of sacrifice? And that the sacrifice in this age is the chanting of the holy name. So we should feel confident. People are wondering, what are the Hare Krishna devotees doing for society? They're parasites. Living on social welfare, some of them. They don't contribute very much to the gross national product. They have these fanatical ideas. They have a restaurant, so at least they feed some people. So that's so bad. But we should know we're doing the best service just by chanting Hare Krishna. That because we're chanting Hare Krishna, there in some parts of the world there's rain which wouldn't be. And there's grains, people are getting something to eat. And we're actually elevating people's consciousness so they can understand this. And our prescribed duty, of course, it may appear that some of us have jobs and we're getting money from the job, but what is this money we're getting from a job? It's a piece of paper, or electronically. But actually when we offer something and sacrifice to Krishna, then the rains come. And therefore there's something to buy, of value. There's some food to buy. Not because of our job we're working. I mean, most of the jobs, they have jobs making video games. They have jobs, all kinds of jobs they have nowadays. They think is their job, and they're making money from it. What is this money? Without food, what is the value of any of this money? Without water, what is the value of the money? Without fresh air, really, what is the value of the money if you don't have fresh air? If you don't have fresh water? If you don't know how to relate to others in a loving way, what is the value of all this talk about love and whatever else? So actually we're giving the society the best service, and we have the best existence on this planet. Those who are even trying to become devotees had the best lifestyle, the best hope. I mean, what do people expect in the future? If you are of another religion, at least you may hope there's some afterlife, there's some future. But what is it? Where are you going? Even if you're pious and you try to satisfy God, where is He going to take you? Where are you going? At least we have some idea where we might be going. We're not going to go through the light into some tunnel or whatever they think. No, there's a place where we can actually go and live forever in full bliss and knowledge. And part of that, Krishna has made it, if we perform sacrifice to Him in this age of chanting, then we get our necessities here in this material world, and we don't have to worry about it. They'll be supplied to us. And with a healthy body, we can perform devotional service to the best of our ability and make progress towards the ultimate goal of life. Other than that, everyone's completely in anxiety. They don't know if they're going to lose their job, if they're going to pay their mortgage. They don't even know what they're eating. They go to the store and they buy something in a package and they look at it. They have to have a PhD in chemistry to understand what's on the label. And if they have no time to cook anything because they're too busy working money to get money to buy food, so someone else can cook it for them. Food means, some packaged material you just throw into a pot. You hope for the best. Anyhow, we can go on, but we'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
I was talking to someone and they were saying that in the Hare Krishna movement there's too much information about God and this, that, and for them it's just important that they have to do the right thing and it doesn't matter if there's afterlife or this.
Do the right thing. What is the right thing? Who defines what the right thing is? Now, if they have some idea that we're eternal, just like if you're in prison and you're condemned there to be there forever, and someone comes along and says, you know, what's the right thing? What do you think the right thing is? They say, well, you just got to be in jail and do the right thing. And you say, well, actually, we could free you from the jail. What do you think about that? No, I'm not concerned about that. I just want to do the right thing in the jail. Some people are so foolish. They want to do the right thing, but they have no idea what the right thing is. And if you explain to them what the right thing is to get out of jail, get out of the prison, material existence, they say, well, I can't do that. I'm just trying to do the right thing here. I'm not interested in getting out of jail. I'm going to stay in the jail and do the right thing. Decorate the jail, put flowers in it if I can. And every day the jail keepers come and they beat me to a pulp. But I just want to do the right thing while I'm in the jail. Well, most sane people would think, well, if I'm being beaten in this jail and I'm being restricted, I can't get good food, I can't get good water, I can't get, the jail is, you know, I can't breathe properly here. Well, we define the right thing is get out of jail, go to a healthy place where you can actually enjoy life freely. No, I'm too busy doing the right thing in the jail, being beaten. So go ahead. Good luck. What else can you tell such a person? Too much information about God. Well, at least they accept that we know something about God. They're just not interested in Him. So let them pretend that they're God and doing the right thing. So that's up to them. Krishna has given everyone free will, and that's how they're using it. But just wait for a few years. Hopefully, if they have some intelligence left, they'll realize that maybe everything they've been doing wasn't exactly the right thing. Anything else? Yes.
Yagya for this age is chanting the holy names, but we are still doing these other yagyas that were maybe not for this age, but nevertheless we are doing the. So what is the benefit or purpose or intention of these other yagas that we are also performing?
You like Nishinga Yaga?
Yeah, like fire sacrifices.
Well, Prabhupada said the fire sacrifices for initiation is just a show. That's what he said. Doesn't have throwing grains in a fire. Well, if they're nice grains, it smells good after the fire sacrifice. And if it's the winter and it's cold, you save on heat. Everyone around the fire gets warm. Other than that, it's just a show. As far as the Nishinga Yagya, of course, the main part of the fire sacrifice is the chanting of Krishna's name.
But it can be chanted also without fire. I mean, it is chanted also without fire.
But then you have to put on the heater. This way everyone gets warm. And when you throw the grains in, it's more or less symbolic. you're making a pledge for this. That's for initiation of fire sacrifices. It's meant to, here's the Vaishnavas and here's the deities, and Agni's present. So you're making a vow before them. And besides that, it's kind of like colorful. It's adding a little bit. What's that? Exotic, right? It makes it seem like I'm really doing something, making a real vow. Throwing grains into this fire with all these colors in it, and ghee and all these fruits and vegetables around in a pot. And they're chanting all these mantras. It's really focusing your mind on, I'm making a real vow here. This is serious. But the real thing is the seriousness of the vow. Other than that, you don't need a fire sacrifice. But in this age, people don't take anything seriously. So unless you actually have some kind of ritual to cement it. It's like, what's the difference between being married and not being married? People have figured out it makes no difference. In one sense. Maybe legally it may make marriage, but in the relationship, it doesn't make, to them it makes no difference. Because when they make the vow of marriage, they don't take it seriously. Their parents didn't take it seriously. Their grandparents didn't take it seriously. And when they make a vow of marriage, forever, what do they still say here? Now from now on, you're man and wife for the rest of your life. Do they ever say that anymore? What's that? Yeah, but they think we're man and wife until our contract runs out. The divorce clause is written in there. Literally, they do that. Nowadays, they make contracts before if they get married, how they're going to divide up the assets after they get divorced. So they don't take it seriously. What does it mean? We're married. If you're planning to get divorced in the future.
But Prabhupada did encourage samskaras for children and...
Yeah, of course, but the idea is to take it... There's a God. There's laws behind material nature. Something should be there to help us take it seriously. Because if you get married and you get divorced, it's bad karma. It's really bad karma. If you have children and you don't take care of them, it's really bad karma. You're going to suffer. So these samskaras is to cement within someone that you have to do the right thing, the really right thing. You have to take it seriously. It's to remind us. And when you're together with people, like-minded people, who actually try to support that vow of seriousness, then it strengthens you. The community strengthens one to actually follow the process. Just like in the Vedic culture, it's the community that strengthens you, and the rituals behind it that fix you in that determination to follow the correct path. It infuses one with that consciousness, helps one remember it. And without that, everything just goes on, and therefore the society is a mess. The children are, even the pets in the society are neurotic. You look at the dogs when they're walking the dogs on the street, they look as neurotic as the people who are walking them. They're all disturbed. I'm seriously, you cross the street from Tivoli Park, and everyone has every other person has a dog around here. And when the dog sees you, immediately wants to jump on you. So many dogs are just, little dog, even little dogs, they're all neurotic, they're all paranoid. Someone's going to attack them or attack their master or something, or they should attack. So everyone is disturbed in the society. They have no goal of life. They have no reason to be except for eating tomorrow and sleeping and mating and defending. There's no higher purpose. And therefore when they see, I remember I saw my cousin one time. I went to New York. I was in Brooklyn. And my cousin is the head of a department at a university, in New York City University, NYU. He's the head of the computer department there. And somehow or another, I got locked out of my room. So I had to go in a dhoti, kind of a dhoti, it wasn't a very good one, and tilak. And I didn't have any identification. So trying to get through NYU without identification to see my cousin. Somehow or other I got to see him. And we were talking, he said, because he knew I was a Hare Krishna. As soon as I joined, I went to my city, when I was, one time at 69 sometime, I went home to see my parents. And I went to my sister's wedding. And all I had left, because when you joined, you had to hand in all your non-devotional clothes to the temple president. And so I had no non-devotional clothes, so to speak. All I had was something that looked like a dhoti. It was actually a bed sheet. It was a real bed sheet. What's that?
It's true. Wearing bed sheets.
Yeah, we were wearing bed sheets. We didn't have any contact with India. Even our shirts were made out of bed sheet. I guess we had just regular shirts, but our dhotis were made out of bed sheets. And I went home to see my parents. Of course, they didn't like it very much. They were shocked. I mean, but anyway, I went to my sister's wedding, and all my cousins were there, and they're all, some of my relatives were pretty wealthy. I was supposed to be one of them, be part of the family. Actually, one of my relatives at one time was quite famous before she got divorced. Barbara Streisand or something.
Really?
Yeah. What's that? Streisand? The singer. Streisand, yeah. So, they saw me. I was supposed to be the star of the show. But surprisingly, they all came up to me and they asked me questions. And so this is the first time I saw my cousin in like maybe 50 years or something. And actually, he was quite appreciative. He said, at least you have a community. You're living in a community. That people support each other. So he was a little envious, actually. Although he's a big professor, head of a department at a big university. And it was a little, he had a little bit of lamentation that he doesn't, he was married, had children and everything, but he didn't have a community to support him. So even we have that. These materialists, they don't even have that. They don't have any reason. Everything is so dry. Their ritual is to walk the dog in the park every day, make sure it doesn't pass stool in the house. That's their ritual. Or turn on the TV and see, Mickey Mouse shows. Or watch a sports, they ritually watch sports. Two people, kicking a ball around the field. It's completely meaningless. There's no connection with anything real, any higher sense. At least we have some idea we're eternal. We're trying to realize that. We have some purpose in life to realize reality, our relation to the Supreme Person, the most attractive person, and what's their purpose of life. And if they lose, then their whole purpose of life has been destroyed. Pretty meaningless. Right?